Hi, I'm Gretchen. This is day 4.5 of the Servant Program. Today we're going to be talking about physical versus spiritual results. And here are the first two questions. What are your physical results and what are your spiritual results? We obtain the physical and spiritual results we desire, health and sustainable joy. We also obtain physical and spiritual results we do not desire. These are the chronic physical and spiritual states of fear and depression. This is the desolation we spoke of in day 3.5. Physical desolation is when our result is a chronic state of injury, ill health, inflammation, pain that is so severe that the sacrifice process we must engage in just to stay alive is continuously way past our northwest threshold. In short, physical desolation is the road to death. Is the sacrifice process you must engage in just to stay alive past your northwest threshold continuously? Since our physical bodies are subject to general and specific physical causes, we all obtain the result of death. Even if we do everything we can to balance our physical process throughout our lifetime, death may overcome us at high speed or at a more gradual rate over time. Death is incremental. Illness or injury are degrees of death. Our result may not progress to death in specific events of illness. Throughout our lives, we have episodes of illnesses and injuries. We engage in the healing process, and our life is extended. But in the general result, we are all subject to physical death. It is the way that it is. Think about the healing processes you have engaged in during your lifetime. How has your life been extended through these processes? The result of death can be general or specific. For example, we may have one or more body system that continues to be imbalanced throughout our lives, even though we're generally healthy. This can keep us in the northwest threshold for our entire lives. Do you have one or more imbalanced body system, even though your general health is maintained? Are you required to live in your northwest threshold? Does your life seem like one long strengthening process? Because death is our general physical result, and it is obtained incrementally, we must all engage in conflict resolution processes in this life. We cannot remain stagnant. Despite the inevitability of this result, we consistently engage in desire obtainment processes to obtain health that are within our control. We are consistently motivated to grow, change, become more than we have, and find answers to extend this life if at all possible. Bottom line, death happens. Whether this result is obtained at a faster or slower pace is not always within our control. Yet our duty is to do all we can to obtain health. We don't give up on engaging in the balanced processes that are within our control because there are causes and their debilitating effects that are outside of our control. This is because our most general desire is to develop spiritual abilities and relationships that sustain physical and spiritual health continuously? Do you allow the inevitability of death and physical pain to take away your desire to consistently seek to maintain and improve your health by engaging in processes over which you do have control? In general, life expectancy has increased over time because of increased knowledge obtained through the conflict resolution and desire attainment processes in which our general brothers and sisters have engaged. Most of us could tell stories about how our health was maintained, strengthened, or regained after we studied and then implemented the general health processes they have found and then passed on to us. So think about the general health processes that are known today. Who in our history have been responsible for identifying them? How did they sacrifice their lives to obtain this information for us? How has it personally benefited you? Even with increasing knowledge in our day, conflicts that are within our control still arise that result in the decrease of life expectancy. Recall that a conflict is when we have two or more opposing desires. We desire long-term health, but we also desire physical pleasure in the moment. This can be a conflict. What are your physical pleasures? Do they conflict with your desire for long-term health? For example, we can eat nutritious food to promote long-term health, but we can also eat tasty food for its pleasure alone. It tastes good right here, right now, so we desire to eat it. We can become imbalanced in this variable, nutrition versus taste. When we consistently choose foods too much for taste and not enough for nutrition, our results will be imbalanced to the northeast. A northeast physical result is incremental atrophy. Atrophy is stagnancy, which promotes illness and speeds up the process of death. But how many of us have looked at the other side of the balance, the other imbalance? We can actually choose foods too much for nutrition and not enough for taste. Us health food fanatics can be imbalanced to the northwest. Another way to describe a northwest physical effect is inflammation. This is the response process of our body when we, or another cause, runs it faster than it has strength. Fasting, self-control, and diet restrictions are beneficial for our body in moderation. But when we force it past its threshold, it responds with an automated rebellion, which is physical inflammation. When we go on a very strict diet all at once, we run faster than we have strength in our food choices. We take away too much of the pleasure we're used to and subject ourselves like a schoolmaster to foods that are high in nutrition yet have very little taste. Pendulum swinging always results, and we end up back in more extreme northeast imbalances than before. Food is intended to give pleasure and promote long-term health. Finding the balance in physical desire is key to obtaining the result of long-term health. Joy in the journey is a good thing. How do you find the balance between your desire for pleasure and long-term health? Are you finding joy in the journey? Do you often compromise your long-term health for short-term pleasures? we become more capable of finding balance in physical desire when we establish spiritual health. Spiritual health, as we have seen in days 1 through 3, is the result of establishing balanced relationships with our cause and our children over time. When we have a relationship with at least one other person that is continuously balanced between our process, and his effect, we experience that sustainable joy. In this state, we can better find the balance between our physical desire for pleasure and our desire for long-term health. If we do not have a relationship with another person like this, then our physical desire will be imbalanced either to the northeast or northwest. We are either governed by pleasure and consistently throw our desire for health out to the dogs, or we're not finding much joy at all in the journey. Who wants to live a prolonged life of fear and depression? Might as well enjoy these temporary pleasures while we can. But in that thinking, we're barking up the wrong tree. It is the spiritual relationship that we need to establish when we're experiencing long-term fear and depression. It is the absence of a cause in our lives who understands our inherent balance and interacts with us at that rate. Are you trying to journey solo? Just as we have a physical desire for pleasure, we also have a spiritual desire for pleasure. Spiritual pleasure is when our cause interacts with us at our inherent balance. This is peace right here and right now. When we work to establish sustainable joy in that relationship, we reach to interact with him at his inherent balance incrementally. We strive to learn the general process he uses to obtain his desires. This may not be comfortable for us at first. It is a sacrifice, a leap of faith. It is processing outside of our comfort zone. This sacrifice usually includes our relationship with our children, where we interact with them at their inherent balances. And that's usually not comfortable for us. It's a sacrifice. Yet, if it's done in empathy, we experience energy, which completes that peace and enables us to experience the joy. Are you allowing your cause to interact with you at your inherent balance? Are you seeking to identify his? Are you interacting with your children at their inherent balance? Are you allowing them to learn what yours is?